Last week, I went to Quilt Canada, and here's what happened. Welcome to Epida Studio. My name is Elizabeth, and I help you make beautiful things with quilting, podraggi, and embroidery. So if you're not from Canada, you might not be aware of what Quilt Canada is. But this is the largest quilt show in Canada, and it moves around the country every year. So this year, it happened to be in Toronto, so it was about an hour's drive from where I live. So I was really excited that I was able to attend. I wasn't teaching at Quilt Canada this year, but I was able to volunteer. And I encourage you, if you're going to go and you can do it, I would encourage you to volunteer because it's a great experience. It's a great way to meet quilters from all across the country. And also, if you volunteer, then you get free admission into the show. So on the Thursday morning, I volunteered as a teacher's helper in a workshop, and I was in a foundation paper piecing class with Brett Lewis, who's also known as Natural Born Quilter. And so this was a really fun class. It was packed. People learned a lot. So that was fun, and it's really fun for me to be able to attend a class and see other teachers and how they work. And also, if you're a volunteer, it's a way to get to attend a class for free. So the project he was doing was a ring of flying geese that were paper pieced, and then it was stitched around a circle. So it's kind of like New York Beauty, but it's a full circle, and then it's flying geese instead of spikes. So I really learned a lot, and it was fun to be in that class. Then Friday, I volunteered at the door. I was a door monitor, and thank you so much to everybody who saw me and said hi. That was really exciting to see people who said they watched me on YouTube. And it was also a little bit weird for me. I'm not quite used to that yet, but it was really fun to see that. So thank you to everybody who said hi. It really made my day to talk to people. And then on Saturday morning, I was volunteering in a class with Kathy Wiley, and I was so excited about being in her class. I first heard Kathy speak maybe 15 or 20 years ago at a Quilt Guild meeting that I was at, and her presentation really stuck with me all these years, and I've seen what she's done, and she's won a bunch of awards, and if you haven't seen her work, check it out. But I've been on her newsletter the whole time, and I followed her, so to be able to be in her class was really exciting. And the class that was, she does some freestanding applique. So what that is, it's applique pieces, but there's no backing fabric. They're just kind of loose on their own. So I was able to see how that was done, and then I was able to purchase a couple other patterns of hers, and I have a lot of ideas for things that I could do and how I could switch that up, and we'll see if I get around to doing it, because I always have way more ideas than I actually have time. But I was very excited to be there, and I did learn a lot from her as well. And so, yeah, if you get a chance to volunteer to be a helper in a workshop, and that's a great way to attend a workshop for free. So besides that, then of course I got to see the Quilt Show, and there were so many amazing quilts, and it just showed how much talent there is in Canada, and there's so many different styles and different categories. There was modern quilts, there was dimensional quilts, there were traditional quilts, and quilts that had hand stitching and free motion quilting, and so many different techniques. So that was just fun to go through and see everything, and it was just amazing to see the work that was there. And so besides that, there were some other exhibits that were great to see. There were a couple of people that had individual exhibits, and then some guilds had exhibits. And then of course, seeing what the kids did was also really fun. There's a youth categories from ages like 5 to 7, 8 to maybe 12, and 13 to 17, something like that. Anyways, and seeing that what the youth did, that was really inspiring to see. And it's great to see young people who are interested in quilting and making things, and they all did such a great job. And so then besides the quilts, then of course there was also the vendor hall. So I was able to go to the vendor hall and I was able to spend some money. So I didn't buy too much. I tried not to go overboard, but of course I did buy stuff. And the one place that I always go, it's one of my favorite booths always, is Wonderfill. And so I did buy some collections of pearl cotton, which if you've seen other Quilt Canadas, this would not be a surprise to you that I stacked up on pearl cotton. And they also had some bins with oddballs out of line pearl cotton. So I'm assuming these are not quite the right color exactly, but they're still beautiful threads that I can use. So I did purchase that from Wonderfill. So if you're not familiar with Wonderfill Threads, then look them up because they have such a big variety, not just pearl cotton. They have threads for hand embroidery, hand stitching, and also for machine stitching. So be sure to check them out. And then this is their new product that they were releasing, and it's called Creative Mediums. And so it's things like stabilizer or fusible web. So these are new products that they have. So I got this little sampler pack that has just a little sample of each one so I can try them out. It does have a piece of the rinse away design sheets, which I bought a package of those last year and I've used them and I really like those. And so I'm interested in trying these other new products that they have. Then besides that, I bought, this is not as exciting to look at, but rotary cutter blades. It's great to be able to change your rotary cutter blade more frequently, so I did purchase those. And then I got some scissors, and these are from LDH Scissors, which is a Canadian company. And so these are Canadian scissors. So I got this little pair, and I got this little pair that comes in a, if I can open it, this snap, there, it comes in a little pouch. So I got this pair, which is tiny little snips. So that'll be great for snipping threads on hand embroidery. So it was a really good price for these, and I've heard that they're great quality, so I'm looking forward to using those. Then I was excited to be able to go to the booth for Meerkat Shui, I think it's Shui Shui. So this is traditional fabric from South Africa. And the owner of that is Celeste, and she actually doesn't live too far from where I am. And we've been online Instagram friends for quite a while, but we've never actually met in person. So that was fun to be able to meet her in person and just share some of the things. And I did purchase some fabric from her. And this is actually some panels that are for making a wrap skirt. So I got this brown, so when I make the skirt, I will share how that turned out. But you can see the designs on the fabric, and the fabric is actually quite stiff because it does have to be pre-washed. There is sizing or something in it that does have to be pre-washed. And so if you're interested in that, then check out the website, which is meerkatshuishui.com, and I'll put the link for that. But I'm really excited to see how this skirt turns out. And then somebody else that I was really excited to meet in person was Laura from Prequilt, and we've also been Instagram friends for a long time, but we've never met up in person. So that was really exciting to be able to meet her, and she was just as sweet and nice in person as she is online. And Prequilt, if you're not familiar with that, that is an online app that you can use to design quilts or to try out different colorways. I have a whole other video that shows some of the things you can do with that, but there are so many more things you can do. So you can always go to their website, prequilt.com, and then their slogan is waste pixels, not fabric. So it is a great way to check out a color combination digitally before you start cutting into your fabric, and you can see what it's gonna look like. So I didn't buy anything because I'm already subscribed to them, but it was great to talk to Laura and see her family and get to know them a little bit better. Then the last thing that I got is I found a vendor, and I don't know if I'd seen them before, but I didn't realize this is Callisti Quilts is actually very close to where I live. And so that was really exciting to meet them and make that connection. But Callisti Quilts, she specializes in Japanese fabric and supplies. So I did get some fat quarters there, and I got some sashiko thread. And so if you see, if you follow me on social media, you know that I do enjoy doing sashiko. That's not something that I teach, but it is something that I enjoy stitching, and I think it's a perfect travel project because it doesn't take a lot of supplies, it doesn't take a lot of room. And I also purchased this book from her, the Ultimate Sashiko Handbook or Sewer's Book. And this book, I've actually read this book and seen this book, but I have just borrowed it digitally from the library. And so I already knew this was a resource that I'm going to use because I've already used the digital version many times. So this has some instructions for patterns and project ideas, and so I'm excited to get into that and try that. So I didn't actually buy a whole lot of fabric this year. There was so much beautiful fabric, of course, but I did have some self-control. But it was just so fun to be there, and it was so great to be there. Next year is going to be in Winnipeg, and so hopefully I will be able to make it next year. I do have another graduation in my family next year in June, so I'm going to have to kind of wait and see if there's a conflict with the dates because I don't know when the high school graduation is going to be. So I do not know at this point, but fingers crossed, hopefully the graduation is not a conflict and I will be able to go to Quilt Canada. If it is a conflict, of course, I'm choosing my kids' graduation, but hopefully that won't work out. So I did get, for volunteering, I got a thank you pin. So this is the official pin from Quilt Canada Toronto 2025. And so I can add that to my collection of other pins that I have from other years that I've attended. And so next June, if you're going to be in the Winnipeg area, then that is for sure something that you'll want to check out. You can find all of the information about that at the CQA, Canadian Quilters Association website. And if you follow them on social media, then throughout the year, they will be announcing more and more details as the date gets closer. So if you want to see what I make with some of these things that I bought, then you can follow me on social media or check out my website, epidastudio.com.